Hello, everyone. Welcome back to another episode of the One and Out podcast. I'm Joel Haas.
I'm Avery Hill.
And I'm Lyle Alenstein.
Today, we'll cover some recent news regarding Penn State football, including the announcement of the team captains, as well as Dakari Nelson's position change. And then we'll finish with a hypothetical. But we'll start with the team captains, which were announced this week. So the six captains for 2024. On offense, you have Drew Aller, Nick Dawkins. On defense, you have KJ Winston and Kobe King. And on special teams, you have Riley Thompson and Dom DeLuca. So out of the six, DeLuca is the only returning captain. Everybody else is a first-year captain. What were your guys' initial reactions to those picks?
Yeah, initial takeaways. And I talked about this last episode, but glad to see the leadership Drew hype is continuing. I think that's obviously everyone was talking a lot about him during media days and such, and like Franklin's local availabilities that he's stepping up in that role. Obviously, Drew talked about it a bunch, how he's made more of an impact to be vocal and not just obviously he's stressed more being a lead by example guy, but it's his team, it's his offense, and I think that's good for him to see that he's trying to take command of a situation that he was given. I mean, Nick Dawkins, I think that was a lock given. I think he's been that like veteran guy in the locker room for a while now. He's obviously such a vocal presence, always a good guy, to talk to as well. Good personality. So I think a lot of people lead by him. He's been there a while. He knows the ropes. Dom, returner, enough said there. I think that was going to be a given. Riley Thompson, let's go. Good for Riley. Glad he got his eligibility cleared up and he got to figure that out as well. I got the captain job. I think that's cool for him.
Riley Thompson.
Yeah, shout out Riley Thompson. And then defense, Kobe King and KJ Winston. I thought defense, I wasn't entirely sure which direction that was going to go. I like the Kobe King pick. Obviously, I feel like it's good to have a Mike linebacker in that role because you're essentially the quarterback of the defense. And then KJ, I wasn't entirely sure about. I think it's a good pick, but I probably would have led Devon J. Thomas, just 6-year guy. He knows the program. He's been through it all. So I thought that would have been a pick there, but I'm not hating on it. They're good picks. They're captains for a reason.
Yeah, I mean, going off of that, I'm gonna start with the defense. I do think that those were good picks, especially I think Kobe King, I think for me would have been a given again, Mike linebacker, and he's been in the system for so long that he kind of knows the ropes and he's able to kind of give it to the younger guys and everything. I think that was obvious and kind of just as loud. So I didn't think KJ would get the captain nod. I don't think it's a bad thing at all. I think he stepped up, and I think even if he wasn't this vocal leader, which I'm not entirely sure, but even if he isn't this vocal leader, I think he's led by example, and I think that's enough for him to get a nod. Then just going back to the offense, I mean, I think for Drew is definitely a big nod. I think as a quarterback, not every quarterback is a captain, but I feel like you have to be a captain as a quarterback. I mean, you're the leader of your team. I think it's a bigger story if you're not a captain, especially because, of course, there's rumblings, oh, maybe he's not this, vocal leader. He's not doing this. But now that he gets that captain nod, it's showing that he's clearly like ready to lead. And I think that that'll be pivotal for Penn State this year, seeing him lead as the quarterback. And then going to Nick Dawkins again, yeah, that's a lot. Like we knew it. Nick Dawkins is just that guy, veteran guy that just kind of rallies the troops on that offensive line. And I think that's a really big pick. And then, of course, Dom, same as Lyle said, just we kind of expected that. And Riley Thompson, well, everyone's favorite sophomore.
Yeah, freshman at this point. Give him another year.
Yeah.
Give him like an
He'll be 29. He'll be 29, 30. How old is I want to yeah, he's 29, 30.
He's
Gotta
our
be.
age.
It's like the Arkansas dude.
Yeah, all the punters and gospel
No way.
punters.
29. He gotta be. So it'd be 29, 30. He's gonna be out there. He probably went through 2 marriages, something like that, about 5 kids, usual.
I think he's going for Sean's record for oldest Penn State player. I think we got two of them right. We tried to guess it last week, and I think we got Drew, and Nick Dawkins. I think we whiffed on defense because we went with like Devon and Keaton. Um, and then I don't think we guessed, or not Keaton, sorry. Jalen Reed, wrong safety. Um, but and then I don't even think we guessed special teams. But yeah, I mean, like you guys mentioned, Dom DeLuca probably a lock there at linebacker. Speaking of linebacker, Dakari Nelson recently made the switch from safety to linebacker, adds a little bit of depth to that room. I'm not sure if they necessarily needed it just because they're moving to the 4-2-5 scheme with Tom Allen. One less linebacker on the field, and you've already got guys like Kobe King, team captain, guys like Tony Rojas, who we saw step up in some garbage time moments last year, but looked really impressive. And then you've got Abdul Carter, who will, I guess, play linebacker sometimes. He'll go back and forth. James Franklin said. So I feel like they had pretty solid depth there already. You do lose Kavion Keys, but now, um, yeah, we're adding another piece to that room, which I don't know if they necessarily needed the depth, but I don't know. What did you guys think about the move from Dakari Nelson?
I mean, I think it's actually really interesting. I mean, again, as you said, they're playing in a 4-2-5. And in a 4-2-5, of course, your linebackers are going to be really responsible for the box. You have 5 defensive backs. They aren't really needed coverage-wise. So I guess they expect him to step up more in the run support and just playing in the box. I think, I mean, even he'll still end up covering. It's not like he's going to blitz every single play. So I think maybe they think him in the mid zone might be a good idea. But also I think Franklin said it was just a move that was good for him, move that he kind of grew out of that safety position. He's up to what, 217 pounds. He's about 6'3". In college, modern day college, you can have, linebackers around that weight. I'm sure he can put on a little more, but I think he'll be just fine there. I think that might be the direction that he needs to head in just to have, a successful career. I mean, he's a redshirt freshman and has like, for whatever, however many years he wants to try to get extended for to go. So he'll have that chance to experiment at a new position.
Yeah, I think it's interesting because when he was being recruited, there was some skepticism that he could end up developing into a linebacker just based on his frame. I mean, he's 6'3", I think he's 217 now. And I think just back when he was playing high school for Selma in Alabama, he was a really physical guy, even when he was just 185. And that was just something that a lot of scouts took notice. So I think that's interesting. I think he can definitely develop into the linebacker role. But I think personally, this is more of just like him phasing out of it. I mean, obviously you can look at it phasing out of safety, that is. I think you look at it from a depth perspective and it's like, yeah, he can replace that Kavion Keys, I guess, as part of the 2D. But you look at the linebacker room, like depth compared to the safety. Linebacker, you've got way more guys, I feel like, because linebacker, you've got Kobe King, Tony Rojas, Tyler Elsdon, obviously Keon Wiley's hurt. But then you've got Tamir Robinson, who Franklin talked about during Penn State Media Day, and then he talked about it again tonight, just shortly ago. He mentioned his name again. There's some buzz around him. And so obviously Dakari Nelson fits in, and he's like, hey, this could be a guy fighting for the 2 deep. But then you look at the safety room, and it's like outside of it, with him leaving, it's like outside of the top 3 guys was the key, KJ and Jalen Reed. You don't really know who's that going to be behind him. Obviously, you've got like Lamont Payne, who was pretty good coming out of high school, but like he hasn't been talked about. We haven't seen what he can do on the field. Abu Torre is a freshman who I think he had a pretty good recruiting pedigree. But then after that, it's like I'm a big Colin Dinkins guy. I know he just changed over from corner to safety. I'm pretty sure he's still like walk on. Not entirely sure there, but I question the depth at this point. Obviously, with all the scheme and everything, and like the versatility where guys can play multiple different spots in Tom Allen's scheme, I feel like wouldn't say it's the last you're seeing Dakari Nelson in a safety spot. Obviously, he's a depth piece at this point. I'm not really looking at immediate impact right now, but it's just I feel like that's just something to think about.
Yeah, and I also think it's a question of whether like how he fits into the 4-2-5. I mean, I don't see him as being the lion, which would be a position that allows him to kind of be literally everything, a cornerback, a safety, a linebacker. All the other positions he'll kind of be just expected to play their primary, like, play corner at corner, play safety at safety. So I think that among with just the guys in front of him, of course, they're not super deep, but I do think that he doesn't really have that much of a chance to play over the safeties that are playing right now and all the starting safeties. So I think that move was just a way for him to kind of get some experience to get on the field. And even in the 4-2-5, he can be that will linebacker, which, I mean, Curtis Jacobs played and was, good in coverage. Like that can be something he stands out in. I mean, Penn State is always sending guys on the blitz. So, I mean, he's probably accustomed to doing that in practice. I mean, he was developmental squad player of the week for a reason. I mean, it might be because he tried a little hard, but again, it's for a reason. It's something that he's probably showing in practice. So I think it's something that's probably very beneficial for his career outlook.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think it had anything to do with like a lack of depth at linebacker or anything like that, because obviously we've seen that Penn State, again, they only lost Curtis Jacobs. Every other linebacker comes back. And again, they're going from 3 linebackers to 2. So they definitely didn't need the depth or anything like that. I think it's more of just the way that he was developing. He was listed at 203 pounds as a recruit out of high school, and then after 1 year at Penn State, he's up to 217. So obviously a lot of growth, and probably still some more room for growth there. So I think he just kind of outgrew the safety role. But again, Lyle, like you mentioned, I would be a little bit more concerned about the depth at safety now, just losing another piece from a room that kind of lacks those proven guys behind really those three that you mentioned. And yeah, I mean, I think linebacker with all the names that we've listed is already in a pretty good position. Um, but we can move on from that and talk about our hypothetical for today. The Olympics 2028, where I think it's Los Angeles. I'm
Yeah,
not
Los
100%
Angeles.
LA. So coming to US soil, we'll also be adding flag football for the first time. So I'll throw it to you guys first. What Penn State players, past, current, maybe even future, do you think would be the best at flag football in the Olympics?
Okay, I'll go past here. I'll start with pass. I like LeVar Arrington. I feel like that's not a guy if you're going to play a United States football team that just regardless of where you came from, I don't really think a lot of foreign countries have seen anything like LeVar Arrington, and you see him lining up on maybe like I don't know what the rules are for flag football for the Olympics yet. Definitely haven't set in stone yet. But if he's coming at you yelling one Mississippi, two Mississippi, I feel like that quarterback's not getting the ball off. I think he's scared to throw it away. And that's 4 easy downs. You turn it over, and I don't even think he needs to play off. I mean, you could hand it off to him, and he could just take it to the house if he wants. But I like that pick. Present, I'm torn like on the team right now. I don't know about NFL guys. I'm going to look at. I think I'm going to be between Tyler Warren and Tony Rojas. Tyler Warren was originally committed to play quarterback of Virginia Tech, so that's some versatility right there, I guess, on offense. Then obviously he's potentially the best tight end in college football this year. So like that, and Tony Rojas, he's fast. He's played linebacker. He also played running back in high school, so that's another guy who had both sides of the ball right there. And one more for you, future class of 2025 Penn State guy, Deshaun Burnett. I think linebacker might transition to the end, plays tight end as well, and then obviously this summer on the 7-on-7 circuit, he came to State College as well for a tournament. He just lit it up on both sides of the ball. So if he's one of the top guys in that Penn State class right now on defense. His career plays nicely at Penn State, earns that nice little draft profile. I'll see you in Cali, Deshaun.
Well, first I was going to for my future, I was going to say Alvin Henderson, but obviously that's not a thing anymore.
Oh,
So
oh.
no more A Train. But
Didn't
I'm
think
gonna
he would
start
come
with
up
the
in
pass.
conversation.
A-Train has left the station, unfortunately.
I didn't no shot. I thought he was going to come up in conversation again, but here we are.
Well, yeah. So for my past, I think I'm gonna go with let's go with Spice Adams and at quarterback actually, because I mean he's Spice. He's going to do him. I mean, I think he can throw for 400 yards in a flag football game. I don't know how many yards they throw for, but he's definitely better than the what was the Team USA flag football quarterback that was complaining
Oh,
that
the
players are getting the
yeah, I saw
spotlight.
that. The like USA flag football guy was like, we can't assume that the NFL players will come in and take our jobs.
Who are you, buddy?
I saw he was like 5'7" too. The guy who was complaining. Like, buddy has no chance.
Yeah, buddy. Get ready to learn not Olympic flag football because it's not you, buddy. They might give them. I think they should give them like a few spots on the bottom of the bench, kind of like a Tyrese Halliburton type of role. Like
Okay.
just be there, Gatorades, class,
Yeah, first
things like
string
that.
water
But,
boy.
yeah. But Germany is taking them to a crazy place if they play them. If they let that Team USA flag football team play whoever, I don't care what country it is. I'm sorry, especially Canada. Yeah, they have no chance. But yeah. So for my current, I think Saquon. I don't know. He might be a little too old by the time 2028 comes, but if he still has it, I think you got to throw Saquon on there. Maybe Jahan Dotson possibly if he catches the ball. I mean, that would be a valuable piece, but maybe the stakes aren't that high in the Olympics. I don't know. I mean, there's never been an Olympic flag football team, so. And then if we're going current, I mean you got to go. I think Tony Rojas is a good one because Tony played linebacker, running back, quarterback in high school. He's a super athlete, so you definitely expect him to be on that level. And then also Abdul Carter. I mean, It's kind of like a Micah Parsons type of pick. I think Micah Parsons will end up being on the flag football team as well. So I think Abdul Carter is an easy one. I think him or KJ Winston. I think he'll definitely be one of those playmakers in flag football that just terrorize the poor team, whatever team China quarterback that doesn't play any NFL, that doesn't have any NFL experience. Like it'll be a bad day. Bad.
Okay. Yeah, I can give mine. I guess you kind of previewed it there, but I'm gonna give you Saquon. I'll take Micah Parsons, which you touched on. We all know just kind of what a freak of nature Parsons is, and we've even seen him now practicing at running back with the Cowboys. So potential two-way player there. I'll go with Parsons for pass.
Running backs, but down bad. That is down bad.
Um, if we're looking at current players, that's pretty tough, but I'll go with Abdul Carter. I saw they tweeted he made some watch list and like Penn State football tweeted out a picture of him, and you just look at the dude and like his head goes down to his neck, and there's like no change in width. Like his neck is like wider than his head, and I
More
don't
off-season
like
pictures, though. More off-season pictures.
yeah, I don't even mean
Goes
that in a
behind the height.
derogatory way. Like that's the ultimate test
I
of
let
like
him. Yeah.
all the best linebackers have like a fat neck. Like that's the best test of like how good a linebacker is. And you look at Abdul Carter, dude, and I guess maybe he's defensive end now, but you just look at the neck and he passes the neck test. That's all I need to see. Um,
That's
if
his
we're going
neck.
future, if
Put
we're
it in
going
the book, though,
future,
Haas.
what's up?
I said put it in the book.
Yes, sir. We gotta have like the measurement on the Penn State website of just like
That's crazy.
That's
like
okay.
in inches. Um, I'll go to future to round it out though. I'm gonna go a couple years down the line. I think Messiah Mickens. I think at one point was a 5-star. Now he's like a high 4-star, has the chance to, get back into 5-star status, but he's right on the bubble there. I mean, watching his highlight tape, again, he's got a couple years left of high school ball, so still plenty of time to improve, but just what we've seen from him so far, the numbers he's put up have been pretty ridiculous. I mean, I truly think he's like Penn State's next Saquon, absolute monster. So Messiah Mickens, my pick for future Penn Stater.
Oh, I did not
Putting Alvin Henderson.
give me Jeff Exenor. I mean, big receiver. I think he'll get bigger. He'll be one of those guys you're throwing 50-50 balls up to, just mossing the poor kids.
Alvin Henderson should have been Penn State's next Saquon. He will be the next Tank Bigsby instead.
You know what they should do though? I think they should do what like Team USA basketball does with like the select team. So instead of having like a select team of college players, use Team USA football, like flag football, and just show them why they're not on the team.
I like that.
All right. I think we'll wrap it up here. Thank you guys for tuning in to this week's episode of the 1-0 podcast. We'll be back with you next week for game week.
In person. In person.
We'll be in person for the recording in the studio. But until then, you can find our coverage at psucollegian.com and you can follow us on socials.